I mean, I think it's a relatively open. Well, it could be relatively open, or Scottie Scheffler will just win it.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to a different style of podcast, a different sport. We're entering a new avenue. Me and Kevin have been sort of promising this for a while, and we finally got our way. It's a golf podcast. The Masters starts this week, the biggest tournament in golf. So we're here to talk everything golf. I'm joined by, as I mentioned, Kevin and James. How are you both doing today?
Very good. It's possibly my favorite sporting weekend of the year is the Masters. Just Magnolia Lane, the azaleas, Amen Corner, having to call the crowd patrons instead of
yes.
the crowd.
Yeah.
It's all part of it. And James is currently live from Augusta National, so
Yeah,
I'm sure he's in great form.
YouTube viewers will see that I'm not doing so well because I've flown to Augusta. I've lost my ears on the flight. I've got no ears.
Is that the 12th? Is that the 12th? That's the back of the 12th green, I believe.
Yes, I'm currently. I'm just sat in a deck chair overlooking the 12th as we speak. It is 5 hours time difference, so that will mean it's 8 o'clock and it's 8:13 in the morning here, and things are preparing. Things are getting set up for what should be a great weekend.
Well, speaking of a great weekend, we're going to get straight into it. And James, as you're our man on the ground, I'm going to come to you first. You're just going to run me through who you think is going to win the Masters and why you think they're going to win the Masters.
I mean, I think it's a relatively open. Well, it could be relatively open, or Scottie Scheffler will just win it.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah, he's the defending champion. He's won it twice. He is not in terms of major wins, because actually people like Brooks Koepka have won more than him. I think Spieth still won more than him. McIlroy's won more. But in terms of consistency week to week on the PGA Tour, I think he's probably the most consistently good player we've had since Woods, potentially. And he's clearly got the game to win it. He's won it two of the last 3 years. So, yeah, I don't know why I'm sounding downbeat. I don't know. I guess we want action, don't we? We want thrills. We want a tight finish. And I think the issue could be if he just turns up and brings his A game, he will win relatively easily. And I don't think it'll be a hugely exciting Sunday. So that's why I'm maybe sounding a little bit downbeat. But obviously, who knows? Who knows what might happen over the coming week?
Well, I mean, let's hope it's a bit more competitive than you're painting it out to be. I sort of know. Well, I mean, we talked about it before, but I sort of knew coming into this who you were going to talk about, Kevin. He's the perennial bridesmaid. He's never got over the hump. Is this finally his year? You know who I'm talking about.
I find myself, every time this time of year rolls around, I find myself in a weird position where I'm most aligned with an England football fan on the eve of a major tournament, where I'm convincing myself every time, you know what? Yeah, why not? Why not? Why can Rory McIlroy not win this major? Why can't Rory McIlroy not win the Masters? And James could probably, feel this in his bones every time a major tournament rolls around for England. Why can't they do it? Ignoring, of course, all the obvious evidence of previous failures.
Yeah.
However, Liam, this year, I am back. I have painted the St. George's flag on my face. I have drank 10 cans of local beer, and I have smashed up a local square, because I think Rory McIlroy is going to win the Masters this year. And I'll tell you why. 6 tournaments so far this year. 6 top 20 finishes. 4 top 5 finishes. 2 wins, including the unofficial 5th major
Yeah.
at the Players' Championship. He has never been in this form coming into the Masters. Last year, the Masters was his worst performance at the majors because he wasn't in form. Obviously, the US Open then happened where he should, let's be realistic, he should have won it. And again, no one questions the ability of McIlroy. All this talk of Augusta is set up for Rory's game. I think that's proven that that's not quite true. It is the mental block. We have to, and he's a sports psychologist's dream. And even when he won the Players, he had chances on the Sunday to kill it before going to a playoff. And a lot of the reasons why he did, not a lot of the reasons, but some of the reasons why he won it was JJ Spawn looked slightly out of his depth because, you know, he's a relatively new player on the PGA Tour coming up against a veteran who's been on the PGA Tour for this is his 15th year on the PGA Tour. Obviously hasn't won a major in 11, but I have faith in Rory McIlroy. I just think it has to happen. James spoke about Scheffler's consistency in winning. That's so true. McIlroy is so consistent in terms of these top 5, top 10 finishes. It has to happen, and I believe in Rory McIlroy, and I think he's going to win it this year. Finally,
when you say it has to happen, Kevin, I'm thinking of that Mick McCarthy meme.
Yes,
it doesn't.
What was it? It can't go on for much longer, Mick.
It can.
It can.
It can. Yes, that's very true. But
yeah,
what is life without a little faith in a millionaire golfer?
Well, yeah, can I just come back at you a little bit? I've been down this road before, Kevin. I'm not saying he's never going to win it. I'm not because he's got so many top 10s, top 5 in terms of like the course being made for him and stuff like that. He can play round Augusta. That, you know, if you there are certain people. Rahm was one before he won it. I've just had a little sneaky look. I'll mention a couple of other people here. Scheffler,
yes,
has got 4 top 10s in the last 6 years. So and he's won 2 majors last year. So he did,
but he's in terrible form, Xander Schauffele, and he's even admitted that himself. This is the main reason. If Rory hadn't been playing as well as he had, I wouldn't be as look. I'm always going to have faith. I'm always going to hope that McIlroy win it. But there is a difference this year. I think because of what happened last year, he was terrible last year, and he was terrible from day one. And come Thursday, when this will probably be rolled out, I could be entirely wrong because you have to have a good start. And we saw how McIlroy has won his majors. It's been a long time, so people may have forgotten. He comes out like a house on fire and just blitzes the field. I mean, he's won 2 majors by 8 shots. Yeah. The only player to ever do that is Tiger. So he needs a good start. And I think you're right. If he doesn't have a good start on Thursday, you look at Schauffele, you look at Scottie, I think Liam is going to touch on Bryson, Koepka, John Rahm. These boys are there. But I just think this is like he hasn't finished outside the top 20 yet this year.
No, he's been very consistent.
So again, I'm convincing myself. I am like like I said, I'm like James convincing himself around this time next year. James will be like, you know what? Jude Bellingham is the greatest English player to ever grace the football pitch, and he will lead Thomas Tuchel's men to victory in the States.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is Real Madrid's Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's
my headspace. Harry Kane can still move after playing straight for 2.5 seasons. It's working.
My only issue now, as you say, Kevin, you alluded to there, it is a long time. It's 11 years. I think,
2014. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this now because as you were saying with the US Open, we've seen some mental fallibility from him because he looked so good. I mean, obviously the first one, and I remember clearly watching it. He was however many up on about, he's playing the back nine, and I remember saying I was a young man then. I was a young man, but I was still a peerless golf analyst. I said to my dad and my girlfriend, it's all well and good until you're actually doing it, and it's like, oh my God, I'm going to win the Masters. And he fell apart.
2011, wasn't it? Was it 2011?
Has he built the whole thing up in his head too much now? That this is the one I need to complete the set. And now it's 11 years since he won a major, and it's, will those nerves kick in? I think if he'd have done it 2 years after he won his last major, he would have just won one. But now I'm worried if he is in the lead with 4 holes left, would he blow it potentially? That sort of thing.
I mean, yes. That's always been the question. We've touched on that. It's none of us here are questioning his golfing ability and the way he can play shots around the course to win this. He clearly has the ability. It's all upstairs. That's literally, and that's why I think there's only 2 ways he can, I think, win the Masters. I think he can blitz it and lead from Thursday by at least 3-4 shots, 5 shots even, and just have enough of a cushion so if there is a tiny little slip, it doesn't matter. Or he's 5th coming in to Sunday, and he's the one who's 5 back. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it the year, I can't remember the year off the top of my head, but he shot something like a 63 or a 62 on the final day. Do you remember that shot on 18 from the bunker where Morikawa followed him in basically on the same one? And he finished 2nd that year. Was it 23 maybe? I can't think of the exact year off the top of my head. So I don't think if he's in a tussle with Scottie down the stretch, I don't think he wins it. Or if it's nip and tuck here and there, sort of Saturday going into Sunday, I don't think he wins it. But I have to believe James. You have the rational arguments. I have the irrational emotions.
Belief, yeah.
I have the irrational emotions, and I'm going to ride them all the way to Sunday into that green jacket.
I am sort of with you because I've had it before, Kev, and you just think one of these years has got to be the year, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. But again, just think.
But you're right.
McCarthy.
You're probably right.
McCarthy.
You'll be right. Scottie will just work his way around the course, and it'll be over by 8:30 Sunday night.
Hopefully not.
Or
we come to what's behind door number 3, Liam?
Door number 3 is a full-time YouTuber turned golf player who defected, if you like, in the words of Rory McIlroy, to live a couple of years ago with all these other high-level golfers, and unlike a lot of them, hasn't really seen a steep decline in his ability. We've seen Dustin Johnson go from probably the best golfer in the world to a pretty pale imitation of his former self. I think that's fair to say, but he himself has said he just likes chilling on his yacht with his family now, so all the best to him. But no, I'm going for a recent major winner, albeit last year, but a recent major winner, somebody who fended off Rory McIlroy for that major. I'm going for Bryson DeChambeau, as Kevin alluded to before. I think he has the ability to win tournaments like this. He's a very hard hitter. I think that's fair to say for him. Probably the longest hitter on the tours. And we spoke a lot about it with Rory. The mental side of his game is probably second to none either. He has a real belief in himself that if he gets going, there's nothing that can stop him. And like we've said, that's very important around Augusta, to really just get in that bubble and focus on yourself and nobody else. And I really think Bryson DeChambeau has the ability to do that. He's in a real good place at the moment. I think last week he finished 5th in Miami on the Live Tour. Not that it's the best standard of golf, maybe, but top 5 finishes are nothing to be shot at. So there's something there, and like I said, he won the US Open. That is the reason he's playing in this tournament, because major winners are allowed to play for so long. So he's got his ticket in. He's got to make the most of it now. His game's really improved from what I've seen since he moved to Live, which, like I said, is one of the few golfers that seem to gone the other way. He's really taken a different approach than just, I'll hit this thing as hard as I can and hope I get it close. He's improved his short game a lot. His putting's got a lot better. He's changed his stance now. He's gone with like the Adam Scott, really tall,
long putter,
long putter, which just seemed to really favour him. And yeah, the mental side of the game, as we've said, is really important. I think that's there for him to sort of win it all. I mean, this is probably really off the peak, but the fact he's sort of branched out and made himself more of this personality and this public figure, he's more open to criticism than maybe a few of the golfers in his sort of level, would allow him to really build up that mental resilience that, no, I don't care what you say about me, because I'm going to go to Augusta and I'm going to shoot 4 under every day, and I'm going to put myself in with a chance of winning the Masters. So as much as I would like Rory to finally win one, I just think there comes a point when maybe people have to realize, is he ever going to win a Masters? And for me, this year it is not his year to win it, so I'm going Bryson for the green jacket. Which, given all our predictions, means that none of Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, and Scottie Scheffler are going to win it, and it's going to be someone like Tony Finau or
step forward, Colin Morikawa.
Yeah, or Hideki Matsuyama or something like that. But
Morikawa, not a bad shout, Kevin.
I do have a quick question for you, Liam, on Bryson. You obviously mentioned he won the US Open last year, but I don't know how much of that was him winning it and Rory. Like, I feel like Bryson was sort of just there to take advantage of it and did so. So you got to be there to win it. I mean, yeah, you do, but like, sure. And I'm gonna sort of contradict myself, because I know Brooks has obviously won something as well, PGA. I think the Live thing surely has to stand for something. As in,
yeah,
it. And this is the problem with, like, golf is, without getting to sort of existential crisis on it, like golf is going down. And it's losing, it's losing that sort of prestigeness that it's always had, and that's why these majors are so important, particularly the Masters, because you have these stacked fields, 4 times a year, and this is the first one. I don't know. The whole Live thing, we're not going to get into the split or anything, but I think it has to be a factor when it comes to this, and when you have people like Scottie and Rory on form playing real tournaments.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? And I know what you mean about Bryson doesn't care. Will say anything, doesn't care what you think about him, will just do what he does, much like a certain hero of his that's currently in office in the US government. But I just don't think. And you're right, he has refined his game. He's not that just step up to the tee and bomb it. Look, he can obviously still do that. Yeah. Like, there's no getting away from that. I just feel like Augusta is that sort of course that, it rewards you for taking risks, but you better not take too many, because you're going to get done eventually.
Yeah.
And I know he played well. He finished top 10 last year. But I just, as much as I don't trust Rory, to get it done, in certain aspects. Maybe it's because I just don't want to see Bryson win it. Maybe I'm talking myself into that, but I I don't know if he has the intricacies of his game to win at Augusta, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like the fine touches.
Yeah.
Sort of just like the poise of. Yeah.
But you're right. He definitely has improved. Like I said, he's not just that big power hitter, but I don't know if he's improved enough to coming up against these sort of guys who
play high level week in, week out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
he was humbled. He was humbled a few years ago in quite hilarious fashion when he won his first US Open. And he said, "Oh, I see the par fives at Augusta as par fours, really."
Yes.
And then I remember him finishing the week. I don't remember it. Potentially Bernard Langer was his playing part. He finished behind Bernard Langer, basically, who was
93 years of age.
Yeah, who averaged about 70 yards less than him off the tee. And I'm thinking, well, isn't that golf? Doesn't that sum the beauty of golf up there? You've got a bloke who's hitting it 380 yards off the tee, and then a bloke who's in his 60s, and the guy who's in his 60s has beaten you over 4 rounds because, quote unquote, he knows the course, or he knows where to take a risk. You can't take a risk there because that green's got a shelf on it and it'll bite you, or you can't finish, you can't go left here. People like Bernard Langer have got all of that mapped out in their brain. I think it's a little mention for Langer. I think it's his final Masters this year. So yeah. I don't know if DeChambeau was I don't know. He doesn't come across as a particularly humble man, I have to say. But if he's learned a little bit of humility from the last time he said he was going to go great guns in the Masters, who knows?
Did he finally get that hole in one over his house, by the way?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
yeah. Nice. So he's all set for a hole in one at the Masters. Basically, he's had the training. We're gonna move on to maybe not who we think is going to win the Masters. I want 2 each from you. Sort of like your outside shot, the person who you think, if all the top players start to fumble, he'll be there to sort of grab the green jacket. So, Kevin, I'll come to you first. Who are your 2?
Well, it would be remiss of me not to mention.
Is he going to say Shane Lowry? Yeah.
Lowry. I wouldn't be doing my patriotic duty if I did not mention Shane Lowry here. Look, I think Lowry has always sort of performed quite well at Augusta. 13th in the world now, his highest ever ranking. Obviously went close against Rory at Pebble Beach earlier this year. Has sort of had 3 top 10 finishes as well after that. I think his game, we talked about Bryson's game maybe. I think Lowry, we all know how sort of magic he can be, scrambling, getting up and down around these greens at Augusta. Like I said, he's always sort of played well here. I think he'll go well. Again, he's won a major fairly recently. He obviously will hope to go back to Portrush later this summer, which I'm sure will get talked about, where he won the British Open. Yeah, I think he can have a good weekend here. I don't know if he can win it just because of the lads ahead of him, basically.
There's a distinct group of about 5
yes.
of them that you're like, they're
But he is someone who, if doesn't go to plan for like the really big boys, for me he's in that next he's in the next category down, and he can put himself in positions where he can take advantages of any slips. The second person I'm going to go for is Ludwig Oberg. Did I steal yours?
Stole my one. I
stole yours. Look, he's been a bit up and down early this year, but he won the Genesis at Torrey Pines in February. 25 years of age. looking for his first major. I just love the way he plays. He's very entertaining. Obviously finished second last year. Okay, he was 4 shots behind Scheffler, but that experience will obviously do him well. So yeah, 2 outsiders: Shane Lowry, Ludwig Oberg.
James?
Well, Shane Lowry was going to be one of mine, actually.
You should have been prepared. You knew I was going to say it.
Oh yeah,
Well, yeah. Well, I was
it was
gonna,
the banker.
I was going to do some
this
sort
was
of
the
wind
banker.
up. I was going to do some sort of wind up about, there's only one Irishman this week that's worth following or something like that. I just echo that.
Seamus Power.
What's that? Oh,
Seamus
yeah,
Power.
of course. Seamus, good man himself. Yeah, I've always thought Lowry, even from his young days, I thought this is a guy who's capable of winning a major. He obviously won it in fine style in Portrush, and he'll be back there this year. Yeah, he had 2 top 10s in majors last year. So yeah, but I'll do 2 other ones just to so I'm not going over what Kevin just said. This guy, another person I think is a major winner in waiting, but it has been playing very poorly. So not necessarily what you want to hear for someone who might win it, but he has won recently, and it's Victor Hovland.
Yes, yeah. Good shout.
Yeah, because about 2 years ago I thought, oh, he's going to win a major, and then he was pretty poor all of last year. He won the other week. I'm just I can't remember exactly where it was. It was one of those the something, not the Waste Management Open, but it was the something or other.
American corporation sponsored championship.
Yeah, it was the Valspar Championship.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
How could we forget the Valspar Championship? Yeah, so he's back to winning ways. I definitely think he's got the game to win a major. Yeah, I think maybe this could be, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too soon. My other pick is going to be for a man, again, who's won recently. And I was reading something the other day. Apparently the Masters it's a big one for men in their 20s to win. So
okay.
There you go. And that's Min Woo Lee, who is
stolen mine again. I can't.
Oh, Liam.
Oh, Liam, scramble.
Well, there you go.
Liam has to scramble now, much like we'll see. Quite.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to get to cover the Open a couple of years ago, and I followed Min Woo Lee for a while, and I thought it must get quite irritating, people shouting "let him cook" all the time, but there you go. He's got a very dedicated group of fans who literally follow him every hole, every shot. They shout "let him cook," so there you go. He's going to be well supported. Yeah, he's won recently. He's made a lot of cuts this year. I was having a look at his results the other week, and it's like, tied 23rd, tied whatever, like average. But I'm thinking, all right, you're making the cut every week on tour, and then the next week he goes and wins the Texas Children's Houston Open. There you go. So he's certainly a man that's making a lot of cuts, and he's a man who's won recently, which is exactly why Liam was going to pick him. Isn't that right, Liam?
Definitely. But you've stolen that off me. So now, as Kevin said, I'm scrambling for another. But I found my other. His name's Sepp Straka, the Austrian. He's just been very consistent lately. I think that's the best way of putting it. A lot of top 10s, a lot of top 20s, and that's sort of what you want going into the Masters, is your game to be really on point. He's maybe not been there or thereabouts in terms of winning. I think he was 5th at the Arnold Palmer, which is quite good. But like we said, an outside shot, because as you were talking about with Shane Lowry, he's not in that elite top 5 group, but he's one of the golfers that his game is very consistent at the moment. And if he can put it together and take advantage of maybe other people falling a bit, then he could be there or thereabouts come the Sunday. And my second one, which I'm glad none of you said because he's one of my favourites at the moment, is Bobby McIntyre. the Scot.
Oh, the lefty.
I love his swing. That's really the only reason. But a top 10 in a Singapore, I mean, and then another top 10 at the Players. That's exactly what you want coming into the Masters. He wasn't that far off Rory in the end at the Players. I think only 4 shots off. So his game's there. I say he's young. He's not like a youth prospect. He is 28 now. He's been on the tour a while. But he's, like I was talking about with Bryson, he's really built up that sort of mental fortitude now. His game's really probably where he wants it to be, getting consistent top 20, top 10 finishes, a bit like Sepp, which is why I've gone for him. And yeah, like I said, I just love his swing, the lefty. So another lefty to win the Masters would be ideal.
Are we starting the mental games early in a Ryder Cup year? We've gone literally all European.
I was going to be my next segue. Was
other than Lee and Bryce.
Yeah.
Bryson, yeah. I mean,
the Ryder Cup is up for grabs for a lot of these Europeans now. If they can stick one on the Americans at their biggest course, it starts the mind game straight away.
Was it all 4 majors won by Americans last year? Is that right?
Yes.
The comeback starts here.
Yeah, because it was Scottie, Bryson, and then Scheffler won 2. Yeah.
But if you can win all the majors you want, if you don't win the Ryder Cup, then at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So.
Oh God, I'm not. I'm so not ready for Ryder Cup discourse. Like I do not want to even think about what it means to feel European just quite yet.
So next week we'll get onto the Ryder Cup.
Yes.
But no, I think we've talked about golf for long enough. They've probably reached the end of Darren's leash of us talking about golf for 1 week, so we'll leave it there. Thank you to Kevin and James for joining me. I'm sure we'll all be glued to our screens come Thursday till Sunday. James is leaving us for sunny Spain to watch the Masters. So
no, I'm staying here at Augusta, Liam.
Ah, okay. I thought you were making the trip over to Spain.
No, James, just remember, no mobile phones are allowed on the course.
Yes.
Just
I don't know how you've got that camera in there, because it's quite impressive.
I'm stocking up on pimento cheese. It's very reasonable. It's like one. I was going to say I was reading the other day. I wasn't reading. I'm experiencing it because I'm here. It's £1.50 for like a Coke or whatever, and I think it's $5 for a beer, which is not too bad.
Is that because it's all produced in the United States?
The tariffs. Oof, we're getting political now.
Hey, let's end this. Oh, we don't
cut.
Yeah. I haven't got a Moe and Chandon budget, unfortunately, Kevin. So that's been sticking to the Cokes.
So as we come to the end, thank you all for watching and listening. If you have enjoyed what you've viewed today, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, like the podcast if you're on Spotify, and share it around. We've been waffling about golf. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.